Okay, so the purpose of me being up here today is to speak in encouragement and in conjunction with our Christmas offering that Peter's been speaking about for the past couple of weeks. And I'm going to speak about my journey from skepticism about tithing to faithfulness in God's call to tithe. So, as part of the Big Give campaign, Peter's asked some of the church leaders, and I'm one of your elders, and I'm blessed and privileged to be one of your elders, to speak on different aspects of finances in our lives and in the life of the church. So, Tanya and I have been attending CPC for 27 years. In fact, we were married right here in this room on October 12th, 1996. Yeah, so we are clearly invested in that. And just now that I'm feeling more comfortable, I can go off on a little sidebar. Present that day, of course, was Tanya's mom, Barbara, and our dear friends, Tim and Tensie Kesey, who weren't officially Tim and Tensie Kesey at that point, but a year later they became Tim and Tensie Kesey. So our lives are deeply enmeshed and entwined here in CPC. So again, for years, I would listen to the different pastors talk about tithing and how God calls us to do so. And the Old Testament is replete with passages telling us to tithe the first 10% of our wealth. Malachi 3:10 says, "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it." Like I said, I struggled with this. I was thinking, wow, where's that money going to come from? I was making a very good salary, and again, 10% was a significant amount of money. I was the sole source of income as Tanya was at home raising our sons and homeschooling our sons. So for someone to say, give 10% of your wages, is like, wow, how am I going to do that? And I especially didn't like when the lead pastor or other pastors would share examples of unexpected financial gifts being received by him or others. And I would think, what, someone's just going to knock on my door and hand me, X amount of money? I was skeptical of that. I was, to say the least, skeptical, and my heart was hard to tithing. On the other hand, my lovely wife Tanya was ready to tithe the 10% of our income, and she waited patiently in prayer for a unity in this matter for us. Finally, after a good amount of prayer and a willingness to trust God in this area of my life, I said yes to tithing. I don't remember exactly what year that was, 2002, 2003. Most likely it was in December, and we started tithing soon after. Well, guess what? God was faithful to his word. That year, I received the largest pay increase I had received in many years, and my annual bonus was also the largest in many years. Yeah, exactly. God delivered. Again, he was faithful to his word. So from that point on, we never looked back and have always been provided for. As further proof of God's goodness, when my mother went to be with Jesus in 2012, we inherited a completely unexpected, considerable sum of money, and we were blessed to be able to tithe on that amount of money. In addition, we also were able to pay off our mortgage. In 2013, I was offered a very generous early retirement package from my employer of 22 years, without God's blessing in the form of that inheritance from my mom, we would not have been able to accept this offering. Once again, God was blessing us financially. So, moving down the road, turned out we had enough money to pay for our sons' college educations, thus blessing them without, student debt, and not having any financial hardship by doing so. So the bottom line is, being faithful to God's call to tithe has been a testimony to God's goodness and bounty in our lives. So, in conjunction with our Christmas offering, if you are feeling a call to tithing or to be donating more money than maybe you are used to or feel comfortable with, trust in God, pray about it, seek his guidance and direction, and maybe that will be an opportunity for you. So thank you for letting me share my journey from skepticism to faithfulness in tithing.